Hello everybody. Well, we've seen these demonstrations on Wall Street, and now this weekend it's rippled through many countries in the world. We've had some demonstrators in Auckland, Christchurch, and Wellington in New Zealand. We've had them in Sydney in Australia, Japan, Manila in the Philippines, Germany, France, Greece, even in Zurich in Switzerland, and of course in many other cities across the United States. So what's causing all of this astrologically? Well, the main reason is it's to do with Uranus, which is the planet of change. It's the planet of freedom. It rules youth and movements for an awakening to a better world, especially if we've been feeling very oppressed and suppressed. And Pluto is all about suppression, manipulation, controls. Pluto rules our governments, our banks, our big corporations. And Pluto is very much about structure. And if these structures are not working, then Uranus will come along and just wants to smash these structures down because they are not allowing us to be free. And let's think about it. Uranus was actually discovered in 1781, right in the midst of the French Revolution. The only difference is that today, with our communications networks, we can get messages around the world to millions of people in a matter of seconds. So we can have a worldwide disruptive movement happen quickly in a heartbeat. Now, so far, these demonstrations, at least except for the ones in Rome at the weekend, have been largely peaceful. But I'm anticipating that they're going to get more violent and more serious as time goes on. Let me tell you why. Both Uranus and Pluto are in cardinal signs. Uranus is in Aries, and Aries rules war and weapons and fighting and violence if necessary. And Pluto is in Capricorn, which is very much about solid, traditional, conservative structures. And let's face it, how can it be fair if 1% of the world control more than 40% of the world's assets, and 10% control more than 85%. So we've got just too much of an imbalance now between the haves and the have-nots. Too many people now in huge debt, foreclosure, no hope of a job. There's no hope around. And with this square getting tighter, actually we're in the lead up to it now, because by June and July of next year, until the end of next year, this is when it actually really comes to a head. So what I'm anticipating is that between now and then, we're going to see more eruptions of sudden violence, sudden breakouts where people feel they can't do anything more, they're being suppressed too much, and they want to break out. Now, as well, we need to remember that our stock markets all move in unison now. 10 years ago or more, they used to move differently. If New York went down, if America went down, well, Singapore might go up, but no, we're all moving together. So what happens in one part of the world can ripple across so quickly, and altogether there could be a war. There could be a huge amount of civil unrest. In fact, I must be honest, I am anticipating this to be happening. Now, how can we turn this around? Well, Uranus is very much about an awakening of an understanding that something isn't fair, it's not just. But what I want to see, and I'm hoping for, is that not only are we demonstrating about what we don't want, we need to look at what it is that we do want to create, because Uranus is all about creating for a new world, a better world, bringing down those old structures of Pluto for a better, more conscious world that's fairer, more egalitarian for all of us. So that's really what we need to start thinking about, is what do we want to bring in for this new world? How are we going to do it? And we are going to need some subversive, different kind of leaders. Uranus in Aries, we are going to have some very eccentric and odd leaders. And they're going to be very interesting. And some people will be repelled by them, and some people will be attracted by them. So I think these are how I'm seeing things unfold. Now, what's exciting about the astrology is, of course, it's not only happening globally, and of course it is going to be happening globally with Pluto in Capricorn square the Uranus. We're going to see more earthquakes, more tsunamis, more sudden real severe climate changes, and this is also going to accelerate. We're going to see more disasters, rain, rail, aeroplanes. Just look at the disasters suddenly happened in New Zealand on our Bay of Plenty with the oil spill. So more of these things I am anticipating happening. What we also need to look at is you need to look at where this falls in your chart. Where is this square of Uranus and Pluto in your chart? For example, maybe it's between your 6th and 10th houses. So maybe you are eating foods and drinks that you know are not good for you. You kind of know it, but you're still doing it. And you know that you might be jeopardizing your health in the long term. Maybe you've got a boss who's been very manipulative and tried to suppress you, and you need to break out and maybe look for work elsewhere or start your own business. Maybe it's in your 4th house and your 7th house. Maybe there's a relationship that you're in that's very controlling, somebody who's very manipulative. Maybe you need to walk away from it. Maybe it's just time is up. So it's useful to know where this falls in your chart so that you can start to prepare for these changes within us personally, where we need to break out and awaken to what it is we do want to create. And if you know where it is in your chart, you'll know which life areas are going to be most triggered for you. So this is what I'm seeing. This is why I think we're having the riots. I think we're in the build up to something much bigger, much greater. And we all need individually. Uranus is about our individuality, to find that individuality and to bring it out, to not allow ourselves to be suppressed, manipulated and controlled any longer, and to bring out our divine, unique light that we each have. Because remember, there's not another one like you. Nobody else is ever going to be exactly like you are, ever. So it's important that you bring out your uniqueness. Well, thanks very much for listening. If you want to ask me a question about what this means for you in your chart, or even have a reading or whatever, do let me know and get in touch. Be delighted to hear from you. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.